Hello everybody, this is Pete from PA Labs, and today we're going to do a advanced topic, and this is dealing with databases, and it's going to deal with the representation of databases on your graphical user interface. So I came across this yesterday, yesterday, day before, in the war game. But before I do it in the war game, I want to make sure you guys understand this concept. So this is a many-to-many relationship, okay? And in the game, there are many cities, okay? You create a city can build game units, okay? So there are many cities, and here's our city table, and here is our element table. Now the element table, if I come over here, we have artillery, infantry, and tanks. Okay, so those are the type units that our game is building. And so let me see, here we go. So uh, every city can build one or more element. So many cities build many elements, right? So if you look at this from an infantry unit perspective, each infantry unit can be built at different multiple cities, and multiple cities can build tanks. So it's a many to many relationship. No matter how you look at this, a city can build one or more element type, and an element type can be built at many cities. So that's a many to many relationship. And how do you deal with that in a database? And the real focus of this is how do you deal with it on a graphical interface? So what you do to deal with it on a database, it's simple. You build what is called a cross-reference table where the you build this little intermediary table that says this guy links up here to the city table, and this guy links up here to the uh, element table. So he handles all of the many to many relationships. So he'll have one record in here for every relationship linkage between these two big tables. Now, uh, graphically, that's how you look at it. Okay, that this is something you come across a lot in computer software design and application designs. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take this out of here because I just built this just for you guys to see what this is. In my world, this table here isn't even a table, but it's an element in the game that acts like a table. So what I'm going to do is get rid of him, and I actually got to delete him out of here. Let's see, there you are. So we're going to delete that table. All right, so I just built that so I could show you what a many-to-many table structure is. So let's come back over here to the game. Oh, I don't know that I wanted to do that. But what we're going to use is a table. We're going to use a list icon view of the of this relationship. Okay. Now let's come out to the game, and I'll show you how we're going to do this. And if need be, I can actually even go back and we can see the records being built. What we want to do is, so I have this city here, and I'm going to modify the city. So at the moment, this city has a population of 5 million people. The city name is Pete. Oh, I should change that. Okay, so now the city's name is George. So he gets 1,000 points of production every turn. and he can build units. So what units can he build? This is the list of elements that are possible to build. Although in our first game, the only thing we're concerned with is tanks, infantry, and artillery. So if I come in here and say this guy can build those 2 units, now I need to explain to you what just happened. By me clicking these uh, uh, checkboxes, what happened was that the system actually created records in that cross-reference table. Okay. And let's come down here and I'll show you this. This will take a second to come up, but it's important to understand. So as that's coming up, oh crap, where did you go? I thought I hit. Well, maybe I just hit a button. I don't know. SQL. That's who. Oh, I did went to that other one. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save this so it's committed to the database. All right, now that it's committed to the database, we can come out here to SQLite and let's go look at the database records that are generated. Okay, so on that checkbox being checked, or if you uncheck a checkbox, the check creates a record in this cross-reference table. In this table here, if we come over and let's go to the cross-reference table and let's go look at his data. So he's got a record in here now. He's got 2 records, and it's tying to element type start at 0. So I skipped artillery, infantry, and tanks. So these 2 records were created when I checked that checkbox. Now let's come back and modify this, and let's uncheck tanks and hit save. And then we can jump back over. Whoops. All right, maybe we can jump back over if I can find the right screen to jump to. Here you are. We can jump back over here. Oh, did I save? Oh, yes, I did. So we have to refresh this, and now we're down to 1 unit. So how does that work? That's the big question. How do you tie a checkbox on this screen, the clicking of that checkbox, to the creation or the deletion of records in the database? Okay, so now it's what I'm going to show you how that's done. So we're going to go ahead and close all of this down so I get some resources back, and we can come out here to the code. All right, so if I come to map cities, so this is using, in order for this to be done beautifully and smooth and easy like you just saw it on the screen, you pretty much, well, no, I don't want to say pretty much. You have to use the Windows API. Let's see, it's collapsed that down, I hope. No, maybe it expanded. Okay, let's see. All right, so here's our callback. If I come in here and let's look at our screen creation, we open up our screen. If I can, there it is. And then the first thing I do is set a Windows callback. Okay. Now every screen in your application can have one and only one Windows callback. Okay. So if you're going to build a callback for the RTF, you'll have to include your XREF stuff in there if you want to actually have both occurring on one screen. So how does it work? Here's the callback that I have. Now, we have several conditions that we have to account for, believe it or not, because when the screen loads, when we actually load the screen and we populate the list icon gadget, we have to then spin through the XREF table and check all the pieces that are checked when the screen is presented. But for those records, for this just merely putting it on the screen and marking it, we have to control that does not create more records. So what I created was a city init flag. So we're initializing the screen and then we're done initializing the screen. So this acts as a switch, and he's created way up here at the top, and then it's brought into shared into this callback. All right. So I've kept the callback pretty much straightforward. We're looking at the WPARM, which is part of the handle message parm, WPARM and LPARMs that are sent to the callback. And this is what gadget are we messing with on the screen? And this is how you separate out in a single callback that this is an RTF because we're messing with the WPARM of an editor gadget versus a list icon gadget. Okay, so we come into here and we've got some fancy stuff, and you don't need to know exactly how it works, because I'll be honest with you, some of this Windows API hit stuff is about 8 feet over my head. But we actually look at this check state, and it comes back and says, basically, if it's case 1, then we have unchecked the checkbox. And if it's case 2, we are checking the checkbox. So what I did was create 2 functions here, one that handles the deletion of the XREF and one that handles the create of the XREF. And they're up here. Now, yes, you probably could have nested all of this code up into that particular function down there, but I found it easier to just put it up here in a function unto itself. Yeah, it's personal preference whether you want to dump all this code down there into that function, that callback or not. I mean, you can, but I don't like doing stuff like that. I'll just as soon call out and make a function that does one thing. So this guy brings in that initialization. So if we are not initializing, then we're going to add a record to our XREF, and we're going to go ahead and initialize it, and we're going to set up our values in our record, and we have just created an XREF record. So if we're deleting a check, unchecking something, then we have to go find the XREF record that matches that checkbox and then delete it out of the system. Okay? And that's what he's doing down here. So that is how you very smoothly, and I'll put all this together. I'll probably include it in the custom gadgets or something. No, I'll probably do it unto itself. So y'all can take your hands and play with the code and see how it does. I'll build a micro of this once I get the videos done this morning and get it out there on the website for you to play with. But that is how you actually have a checkbox combo or list icon. I presume it also works the exact same way if you're using a list or anybody else that's got the checkboxes really in a list type setting. This is actually how you make that so nice and smooth, easy. The user really is oblivious to what the complexity of what they're doing on that one little screen. I mean, I guess It's our problem as developers to make screens that make sense to people, that are easy to use. And they don't need to know that I'm generating all these records in the background. They just want their checkbox to be there and their checkbox to remain there. Oops, why did you go away? So the problem that I have is the initialization of city init. He needs to be set to true instantly upon creation, because when he's not set to true, he's initialized to 0, and by the time everything gets updated in this, it's missing. Watch this. The only thing I've changed is setting this to true. And we'll jump over here, go modify our city. He's true. We hit save. We modify the city. He's true. See, this is all I was doing before. And now he's staying clicked. So the only change is make sure that when you create your initialization variable, define him off the start as true. And that's all it ended up being. So folks, thanks for your time. Bye.